Society under the new food regime. The scariest part wasn't the hunger, it was that nobody looked hungry. The rations came on time, the deliveries were efficient, the calorie counts were perfectly calculated. There was enough to live, but never enough to feel secure. And that's how the system maintains control. Not by starving you, but by keeping you always one meal away from fear. People obey when they are frightened, and they worship when they are fed. And AgriCorp mastered both. The collapse of choice. Life became a series of assigned decisions. Where we lived, what we did, what we ate. We used to choose food based on hunger and taste. Now food decided us. If you were young and healthy, you were sent to the fields. If you had a technical degree, you were sent to the processing plants. If you were old or infirm, your ration was adjusted, quietly and indifferently. The world didn't end with death, it ended with irrelevance. The rations replaced wages. There was no paycheck. What would we spend it on anyway? AgriCorp took over the general stores, the supply depots, and the fuel stations. It made everything free, at the cost of our freedom, of course. We worked, we obeyed, we ate, and this was the new economic equation. Labor equals nutrition. No labor, no life. Even the children worked, in sorting, packing, cleaning, or minding younger kids while their parents harvested. We told ourselves that this was normal, and we also told ourselves that this was temporary, that the system smiled at our delusions. Because the moment survival becomes payment, a person stops being a citizen and they become livestock. There was a new social structure that was implemented, and now there were only three kinds of people. Group 1, the producers. Their purpose was field labor and processing. Their access to food was full ration. Then there were the managers. Their purpose was logistics, surveillance, and discipline. Their access to food was abundant. And then the final group were the dependents. And they were the elderly, the disabled, and the children without labor quotas. And their access to food was conditional and reduced. But there was a secret fourth category. One that we never talked about, and one that we pretended didn't exist. And that was the rejected. And those were people who couldn't contribute or wouldn't obey, and their status was removed. The euphemism was meant to soothe us, but we all knew the truth. Where they sent the unproductive. Some still believe they were taken to special care facilities. Others cling to the rumor that they were relocated to urban food centers. But I saw what happened. I saw the trucks leaving late at night. It was always late. The trucks were always unmarked. And the area was always filled with silence. I saw families learn not to ask questions. I saw the empty units walled shut by morning. You cannot maintain perfect efficiency with useless humans lying around. AgriCorp pruned us the way a farmer prunes a field. The price of resistance. Rebellion didn't look like Hollywood fantasies. There were no militias or public speeches. Here, Rebellion looked like someone refusing an assignment, or missing quota, or questioning a drone supervisor, or complaining about their rations. Disobedience had nutritional consequences. A teenager who skipped work lost dessert. A mother who argued lost protein. A father who protested, his family lost a week of bread. Every act of defiance carried a cost paid in hunger, and we learned quickly that justice was expensive, truth was a luxury, and silence was survival. We used to think the drones were just surveillance tools, but no, they were shepherds, and we were the flock. Every evening they drifted overhead, humming like insects, searching for shadows out of place. When they hovered low, we all froze. We pretended that the spotlight didn't shake our bones, that the broadcast commands weren't killing our pride. But the drones did something deeper than monitor us. They reminded us that escape was impossible. The sky itself enforced compliance. Freedom became a myth, and hope became a defect. The disappearance of community. We used to be neighbors. We used to help each other. Now we avoided one another like diseased cattle, because if someone else fell behind, their ration dropped, their apartment emptied, their name was removed from the roll. Association became risk. You didn't help the weak, you distanced yourself from them. Community wasn't outlawed, it just died because survival demanded selfishness. AgriCorp didn't need to police our friendships. Fear did that for them. Family ties rewritten. Parents used to raise children. Now AgriCorp did. Kids were measured, assessed, and sorted before they lost their baby teeth. A strong child became a labor investment. A clever child became a future technician. A child who couldn't perform, their ration was classified as non-essential. Motherhood and fatherhood had been replaced by production quotas. Imagine what that does to love. Imagine hugging your child while knowing the world is calculating whether they'll be worth feeding tomorrow. We learned to love quietly and carefully and secretly, because affection in of itself was inefficient. Religion became moral disruption, and traditions became inefficient allocation of time. Cultural gathering became untracked group movement. We were allowed no days off, and there were no holidays or celebrations. Joy was replaced with functionality. AgriCorp didn't just feed us, it rewrote who we were. And because it happened one regulation at a time, we didn't realize how much we'd lost until the last piece of ourselves was gone. Some claimed that the new world was safer. There was no homelessness, no price gouging, no grocery shortages, no starvation in plain sight. You could walk the streets at night without fear of thieves or gangs. But safety and captivity is still captivity. That's what people forget. AgriCorp didn't want chaos. It wanted order. It wanted a field of humans as uniform as rows of wheat, each stalk identical. The great lie everyone believed. We repeated the same phrase day after day, almost like a prayer. We're lucky we're being fed. We said it to reassure ourselves that this was care and not captivity. But deep down we knew the truth. The hand that feeds you can just as easily starve you. and survival was no longer a right, it was a reward. And bread was no longer nourishment, it was leverage. We didn't live to eat, we ate to stay useful, to stay quiet, and to stay alive. The world AgriCorp built, it wasn't a dictatorship or a corporation or a government. It was a system refined to a single purpose: maximize control and minimize cost. The humans weren't starving, we were being farmed.